that we should not be fearing to miss out because the deadline was not like in 2 hours. We are still getting caught. So, do I need to go to click? Yeah. Is it working? Yes. So you seem to know what is the fear of missing out because it seems to be like a teenage expression. People say that the Generation Z problem. So in general, we talk about it in psychological terms. We say it's a psychological situation of addiction to internet, to social media especially, and it really has consequences. That is, people are waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning because they heard ding-ding on their phone and they are just fearing that something very important happened. They didn't know it. So that sort of causes lots of anxieties if you're missing something, inattention, as you have just heard, bad sleep, etc. I know that you sort of know it, but if I can put maybe this small thing, you'll see like the typical stereotypical thing that would happen. Oh my god, this is not going to work properly. I'm not sure that internet is working. I have to tell you what I wanted to mean here. It wasn't that important. It's just that it was an illustration of a typical fear of missing out situation, which I could refer afterwards when I'm analyzing. Because I have to go with you through a walk, through what the fear of missing out is like in real world. Outside social media. Just a little connection. If it takes to there's some screen. Protecting people from having internet somewhere. During this time, I just...
Ho fatto anche completo di essere qui a
at some point we're going to come. Just right now looking for this small thing, which is like a very caricatural way of explaining what is the fear of missing out. As you see, this is not something that touches only young people. I mean, it touches young people, but it touches all those people who are working in jobs where you need to stay immediately in touch with information. So traders, financial analysts, people who are organizing designs, those people who are just on the phone and they say, hang on, I have the second call. So they take the second phone call just in case they are missing something. And then they come back to you because they are also always in this sort of urgency that something more important will happen. So, that's not my It's probably not going, but doesn't matter. Anyway. The caricature of this fear of missing out is what you're having there. This student or worker, young worker comes exhausted from their work. They come home, they are alone into their home, they just crash there, and while trying to cook something on their microwave because they have no time to cook, of course they get on their phone and there they have pictures with people having a party somewhere. And they go like, oh no, but then they don't want to miss it. So they're miserably cooking this, they are just so tired. But then in the end they say, okay, I can't miss the party. It's such an important thing. So they dress up and they run to go into this club. And of course they enter the club and what they find is that there are just 2 or 3 people, all very important, on their phones, of course. And that's when the person just crashed in front of them and that's the end of the story. So this sort of fear of missing out has been completely, if you want, enabled now and transmitted by the social media and the fact that you can be in touch with your colleagues, with your friends at the time, with important people, but that's not something new because that has always existed. And it's not just a fear of missing out, that is a fear of being left out. You know, your friends are going to have fun without you, so you're going to be persona non grata next time you meet them. So that's why actually, despite the fact that it looks like a pathology, that an addiction, which should be cured by psychologists, as a social scientist, I'm not a psychologist, I'm interested in how this sort of addiction affects people and how it sort of completely biases the way in which they are judging disinformation. So we are not talking here about real fake news. We can be talking about like partial news, or you know what people are posting. You said that, yeah, so much fun, they're creatures of fun, and you think it's absolutely, but they didn't. I mean, from their point of view, this is such a subjective thing that maybe it was the case. What am I doing? Okay. So, is this people or is it? Things can I have the screens when they do this? Sorry, you're trying to disconnect them. Because now up, I can do this. Do I need to? Okay. Sorry, yeah, that's the one. So, first thing that we should be considering. In 2012, there is a book, quite famous, which is called The Acceleration of Time. It was written by Heintz, who is a philosopher and sociologist German, and that's a result of here, you know, habilitation dissertation. It was published in Germany in 2005, and it became quite famous, and it was a lot discussed. And what he says basically is that in the actual pace of the world, we have to run to keep the pace. It's not that we are trying to do things to, you know, to advance stuff in our life. We have to run just to keep the pace. And that's this sort of impression, subjective impression we are all having, that we could be missing out because things are happening so quickly and we don't have the time to keep up with them. So, as you know, we have a lot of tools to gain time. I just think about these Apple watches that sort of say immediately that you have received something on your phone that sort of sends you to your. So we have built that so that people can gain this extra second that they're going to keep you informed right now, and that's not the only thing. And I'm talking about watches, and they are not the only tool that we have built to save time, because watches are actually what keeps time. Normally, they keep time. Now they're keeping your social media ready. So what is time? So I put the St. Augustine quotation, so we don't know, actually. If you ask me, I know, but you don't. I can't explain it to you. And Heintz is actually having this sort of big analysis, you know, historical analysis, trying to explain how we got there, how we got to this feeling of acceleration of time. And he says that there are two great periods of this acceleration. The first acceleration started once the transportation, you know, became more speedy with the invention of steam engines around 850. And the second wave of acceleration happened at the end of the 1980s, and it was called globalization. This is when all of a sudden we sort of knew that at the same time, everywhere things got connected. You know, people are circulating very quickly, information is circulating very quickly, things happen in such an immediate way in so many places of the world, and we know about all of a sudden that sort of space collapse. You sometimes go to your media and it says, this man got killed by a wolf, etc. And you go like, whoa, there are no wolves in front. But actually it's about the United States, but it's translated in French. I see it on my media, so it sort of keeps me away. So no space there, no space frontiers, but just information, things that happen. All of a sudden you're aware of everything basically that could happen in the world, whether it's fake or true, actually. So what does this mean? When things accelerate, Heintz calls this a sort of racing stagnancy. We run just not to be going down in terms of social status and things like this. François Hartog, who's a French historian, also talks about presentism, which is a way in which it seems like there is no future, there is no past, everything is related to the present. We look at the future or at the past from the lens of the present. So it's sort of caught up in an eternal present that never ends. And in this eternal present, we are trying to keep the pace. We don't want to miss things out. And that doesn't leave us a lot of time for fact-checking. I mean, I did fact-check what was sent to my students recently, whether just check that the deadlines are still there, I don't know whether they are eligible or whatever. got it, I got it from a trusted source. However, I just sent it immediately. I didn't have the time to fact check. So the question of whether the news we are going to get, whether they are forced or not, whether they are checked or unchecked, totally matters because we are in a time of rush. And I say so because we have seen yesterday actually in the workshops that you are very good at fact checking actually. No, the only thing is, do you take the time to fact checking every time? Sometimes it's not possible, sometimes it's much easier to click on share. I mean, I have received so many things of people saying, who are sharing and then saying, oh yeah, actually it wasn't true, because they checked afterwards. The application is made in such a way that it's much easier to share the information. You have to go out of it to check the information somewhere else when you're on the phone. Yeah, you don't have this short side tab which was on the solution on a computer. So that would be the reason why, just please keep it in mind, the acceleration of time. Now I'm going to go to what means gossip. Gossip, rumors, there's so many things that happen there, which have like a very, they're like information, but what we know about it, it's new, something new happens, that's gossip. What do we know? We know that it circulates through all the mechanisms, and now the social media provide so many echo chambers that they circulate, but they have always circulated from person to person. People have been gossiping since the end of time, since we know it. And we don't know what is their status. So it's not actually a question whether there are true rumors or false rumors. And I'm going to show you that even true rumors, that's not the topic actually. Rumors cannot be really checked. It's unnecessary to check this. This is not really information. So when we have studied rumors, as I said, this is not a new phenomenon. People were chatting, especially in communities. Somebody told me yesterday gossip was supposed to be a woman's thing, but yeah, it's not just. I'm going to give you some examples later. The first question is how they are created. Who creates them? How do they spread? That's a sort of mechanism of it. And I'm going to give you this example, which is so nicely examined by Julien Bonhomme, who is a French anthropologist, and who worked on the sex thieves in Africa. I don't know whether you have ever heard about the fact that in Africa, in Bali, Central Africa, there are some people who are stealing the sex of men. No, you don't know them? No. He's been there, and he knows that people are saying that somebody is going to steal their sexes. And you can't really check. If they tell you they are stolen it, you are not going to check in people's pants. But what we know is that some of them went to the doctor to fact check it, whether their sex had been stolen. And actually some of those sexes were not working, which is considered to be that they were stolen. And that was related actually to sort of ideas of sorcery. People who are intending to do badly, that they are causing this sort of impotence. And this sort of rumors circulate. And last year in 2024, there was a very interesting thing. Those who are accused of stealing sexes very often are people like, white people who are in a colonial position. Last year in 2024, the French President Macron gave a big talk, which was given in France, not in Africa, in which he said that we have to do something to increase natality in France. And that seems, from anthropologists who are in the field, that it has spread as a rumor and sort of increased the idea that the French are going to steal the sexes of people because they don't have enough. So it's such an improbable thing that you do a little bit, but it does circulate among people. So that's what a rumor is, and it's a man's rumor, by the way. Even if women contribute to spreading it. Questions of veracity. Who legitimizes the rumors? What forms they should take to be legitimate? Should the person who initiates them be a legitimate person? I mean, if you get the information from your professor, like I did, it's not the same as if they're getting it from somebody on the street. The channels through which they are spread, those are questions that are not new. Now we are using social media, I'm saying communities. The types and diversity of rumors are also extremely great. Some of the things are just hearsay we heard about, say something is going wrong, you don't know exactly what it is, but it spreads from one people to the other, and you don't know what the values of truth. Some others are rumors where you can see the manipulative intent behind it, like the examples that you have seen up to now of fake news which were used with a political intent. What is the role of rumors? Because as we presented, it seems like they are all bad. No, they're not all bad, actually. We know that they have maintained sociality. They have maintained bonds between people, you know? If I'm approaching my colleague and saying, it seems that the food is very good, and so, you know, I don't even mind about the food. The idea was to establish a conversation. That's what people, women's gossip was not notoriously known for that. The trouble is that if you are excluded from this gossip, you know, like that person I was telling you wanting to be at the party because there was a party without her. When you're excluded from this gossip, this is bad. So gossip is sociality for some and exclusion for others who are not in the circuit in the chain of gossip. Gossip is also sort of enhancing possibilities. All of a sudden, you can circulate things that are not true, but you make them become true. You know, all of a sudden you say, I heard that Macron has actually a mistress. That's what the gossip is circulating last year. Sorry about me, I got it from the French person. And all of a sudden, people think, maybe it's true, maybe it's not true, but it's true he could have a mistress because actually, you know, his wife is older, so all of a sudden, the fact that that was launched, all of a sudden, even if it was in between, we know that the person who is supposed to be the mistress already said, no, I'm not his mistress. The possibility of him having a mistress grows. Seriously, pleasure. Of course, I mean, all the things that you are reading about celebrities, that's just for pleasure. People are reading improbable stuff, going closer, their paparazzi, trying to give you information which actually no interest, but it is pleasure. I mean, why? I don't know. People who don't have this secret life dream about having them. But also rumors give strength to some people, those who have some information, those who launch the rumors. And you know that social media are, of course, constructed like this with influencers and followers, and so the more information you have, whether it's true or not, and again, rumors could be like more information. I mean, they're true, but maybe they should not be said somewhere. So sometimes they are true and they are circulated. Anyway, the person who gets them first, you know, the one who rushed to post them first, has certain aura of authority. Gossip and hearsay tell us also something about structural problems. In French, we call it bruit de fond. It's something that you're sort of hearing that something is wrong. People are judging, but you don't know exactly. That could be also a sign and a symbol that something is going on underground. And at the end of the 80s, before the Romanian Revolution, I mean, Romanian is not this info, I was living there at the time. There started to be more and more chatting in the street and complaints, and that was a sign that things were going to reach a sort of explosion point, which was the Romanian Revolution. So the gossip and the chattering was also a sign of something. But rumors are also the basis of reputation. You know, especially in small communities, because you know from somebody that somebody else is a bad butcher, that you're not going to go to them, or that if you know from somebody whom you should trust, so they really serve a purpose. So again, that is to let you understand that even if we use the terms as rumor and gossip in a negative way. In reality, they have like important social functions in the communities. That's why actually we adhere to them and replace them. I mean, we all knew that it's better to go on social media and spread information in every business. We also find something interesting when doing this. Now, the problem is the sort of basic problem, is that is there a reality and a link between the rumors and real facts, and how we can get proof? How can we get proof that this sort of information that spreads and which is new is a real fact? And what you should know is first that once you have launched a rumor, it's unbeatable. Any counter-rumor that you are launching is going to be less strong than the rumor itself. It does not matter is that some people said that, no, I'm not involved, I'm not the mistress of Macron. You already know that people actually can have a mistress, so that's not the one, but it's going to have another one. So that's the first thing. When you go in court, when you go to judge real facts, you know that there is going to be a judgment at the end. Things would be, there will be a trial, and things are going to be said to be true or untrue, according to the judges, of course, and to the rules. In the case of rumor, you don't judge it. It's this sort of gray space where you have no opportunity to actually say where is it, to have a say on a rumor, whether it's true or false, because they have no initial census proofs. That's not their initial role. Third thing, when trying to elucidate a rumor, especially concerning celebrities, political people, etc., some journals go and investigate on that. And I'm going to give you this example, which is dealt with by Bernard Payard. He talked about this in an article from 2008. And it is an example linked to Isabelle Adjani. I don't know whether you know her. It's a famous French actress, very beautiful. And in the 80s, there was a rumor spread that she got AIDS. Because at some point she had left the rehearsals of a piece, of a show, and she's quite secret about her life, so she didn't say anything. And so there was all this rumor. It was before social media, please note it down, but there was this rumor spreading. And at some point, journalists started to investigate. Well, when journalists try to investigate to know what really was going on, that sort of gave it to that rumor further evidence. Something should be there, because they are even investigating about it in a very serious way. And it took her years and years to be able to prove and to entertain a sort of ambiguity before she proved that actually she did not have AIDS. It's also because in French we say there is no smoke without the fire. So if journalists investigate, if people are really serious about this, maybe something is going wrong. Maybe it's not AIDS, but at least something else. So the second thing that I want you to take out from all the things about proof is that rumors function because they are probable. They look like reality. They look like truth. And the third thing that I'm going to tell you in about 2 minutes' time is that they also don't need facts because they correspond to your intimate beliefs. They are going to resonate what you'd like to hear, and that's how you are going to trust them. So fake news are probable, they look like truth, and that's sort of a warning because generative artificial intelligence content looks very much like coherent, discursive, source, even if the sources are completely made up, they look like real stuff. And the most worrying thing that is going to happen in the next year, unless there is something going on and computer scientists are going to correct their tools and build some really ethical, uncorruptible tools, is that they're going to spread rumors themselves. Just because you have asked them a stupid question and sort of promised them to generate things that will be taken over and over and over and spread in a way that talks to you because you like this sort of interest. So You probably know that ChatGPT can invent sources, can write you master theses with real sources, but where they are all invented, and it's not intentional. I mean, this is like a technical hallucination. And I was also saying that that rumors don't need facts; they need your intimate beliefs. And as you have all experienced this morning, and the workshop was very nice for this, thank you very much. You have all seen that when you get your information from the social media, the algorithms are going to give you personalized information. You're going to hear what you like, what you're likely to believe, what your intimate beliefs are already pushing you to see. The news that you're going to access are the ones that interest you, that resonate with your past experience and information, so the ones that you have entered already on your social media. To give you an idea of how catastrophic this could be, I'm going to tell you 2 words about the presidential campaign in Romania exactly 1 year ago, when in Romania we almost had an extreme right-wing president coming out of nowhere, being elected. Why? Because I think we were around September or October, there were all these opinion polls, which are collected by sociologists who are doing like a very good work to ask people what is their intention to vote. And it showed up that this guy who was called who was one of the presidential candidates, there's 2% intentions of vote, 2% is nothing. I mean, he had no chance. This guy did not exist in the press. He did not exist in media because he did not have money to make a campaign on media. But instead of this, he made a campaign on TikTok. And on TikTok, through multiplication of accounts by influencers and fake videos and things like this, he managed from September to December, when the elections were, or the first round of elections took place, he managed to get something like 30 or 40% voters. Completely unexpected and completely unseen coming by the media. Why? Because people did not trust media, as I said, but they trusted social media, thinking that TikTok was something which was, free of political influence, and this guy was generally a nice guy, etc. He's luckily, between the first round of the presidential election and the second one, which he was supposed to take part and probably be elected, there was an investigation about the role of TikTok in this campaign. They are not supposed to have one. Yeah. And that's when they discovered the Russian influence. That's how they discovered how all the accounts have been faked or completely deformed. And there was a massive thing all of a sudden that sort of showed why this guy, for sure, trusted at least 30% of the population, not literate enough, to vote for him with completely improbable promises of campaign. And the second tour of the election was cancelled. And he was prohibited because he had used he had abused TikTok. He was prohibited from running for the next election. So that could have been really, really harsh to really happen to the end. And luckily, people knew enough about algorithms and were able to hack and discover that there's no real people, behind all these accounts that was propagating positive images of this guy. But this fake news corresponded to the intimate beliefs of the voters who did not trust media, national media. And he thought this one was more. So, to sum it up, how the fear of missing out can get us into the circle of fake news, those were the 3 reasons I just got to you. This new compulsive consumption of news that doesn't give you time for fact-checking. The second one is the fake news are probable. They could be falsely generated by artificial intelligence tools in the future, so even more probable with real sources and quotations. And this is not just because they are unethically built, because we can, people are trying now to have laws and controls this at the European level at least, but also because for now there are still hallucinations which are inherent to the way in which large language models function, in terms of probabilistic guess of what is going to be said next. But all this is built now on the fact that they have access to so much data about you that it's very difficult to escape from the fact that they are going to give to you your intimate convictions, rumors, and information that might be just noise and rumors, but that you believe in because that's what you are waiting for, that this is confirming actually your beliefs, because it's according to your personalized convictions, and you all know that if you are voting left, you are going to get things from people who vote left, and then you are going to see that the whole of Europe is voting left wing, which is not true, unfortunately. Well, unfortunately, I have no idea. I express myself on this. So the real life consequences of these three things: acceleration of time, artificial intelligence, tools that make things completely probable, and algorithms can get us in a vicious circle of rumors and fake news, from which is very complicated to get out. Now, if I have to give a conclusion, I think that we should be more positive, is that now that you know that much of it is due to the fear of missing out, well, don't fear it. I don't know how easy it is to say don't fear it, but anyway, maybe knowing about it makes you more aware that you shouldn't be rushed. Thank you so much.
View on the spread of rumors, has it been probably been considered part of the three elements that you mentioned?
I mean, obviously the economic interest is like what brings us first to accelerate the flow of goods. We are in a financial capitalism that where things are, traders are what run the world nowadays. Of course, there is economic intention there. In the building of all these artificial intelligence tools, there are a lot of things that are good for us. I don't know why I'm saying that everything is bad, but you all know that there are lots of financial interests. So yes, economics plays also in the second one. And on the speculation on your intimate beliefs, however, and this is something that we can work on, because knowing that that there are these financial interests maybe makes you cautious. This what I was telling you, all those voters in Romania who just voted just because they got information from TikTok, it was because they did not trust national media. They said this is corrupted. Now they know that TikTok also would be corrupted. So maybe being aware and denouncing all this economic and political interest behind would make people at some point, aware of the fact that they are potentially being trapped and be much more critical. The trouble is that it's very difficult now to get out of it. Because, traditional media doesn't work, but there is still some fact-checking there, even if, we get involved as well, as we all know. Social media, everybody puts what they want, their algorithms and bad intentions, but also, perverse effects, which are not bad intentions. So where do you get your information? So this is a real problem, actually. But yeah, their economic interest is also that extent.
Because for me, I think the number of followers you have, the more the credibility, or the more it's easier for you to be viral. And then with that, that makes it, because, for example, yeah, it comes like social content creators when they do this, and it becomes like a daily job, and then it's up to the institution that puts money into the person, the social creator, and then the more it's easy to spread the fake news and everything and the rumors.
Yeah.
But I think if I was to make like a hierarchy of the elements, then for me the motivation of the social media then is really high.